episode 12 of Figure Fanatic. Remember to subscribe. So today we have something special. I mean, just look at the box that this came in. If you want to call it a box, it's more like a treasure chest. This is a small batch figure by an artist, beautiful artist, Andy Melanoff, and he's put out some figures in the past that I've gotten, so I had no hesitations in putting down. I think this came out to about $2,500, which is a little steep, but when I open this up, you're going to see why it's completely justifiable. This is more than just a figure. It is a complete cinematic set, if you will. This is Tom Hanks's character from the film Big, along with the Zoltar machine, along with the working piano pad, iconic in the film, that he danced on at the FAO Schwartz, which, rest in peace, no longer exists. So let's crack this thing open and see what we got here. All right, let's open up this monstrosity. So on the top here, it says, "Make your wish," spray painted on the top there. Nice touch. I mean, the whole case is a nice touch. But the first thing I thought when I opened the box was how much of my $2,500 that I paid for this thing went towards this case, because it's certainly nice for initial presentation, but once you put the thing on display, this thing goes into storage somewhere. So, I don't know. All right. Wow. Look at that. Wish granted. And you've got this life-size version of the card, little prop from the show, from the movie. This is called the Piano Man, and this is by Doggie Doc Designs. Andy Melanoff was the lead on this. Jacob Ramir, recognize him, the portrait paint. Zoltar machine and light up display base. This is number 13 of 25. So 25 of these were made. Very nice. And here it is. Oh my goodness. A little heavy. Solid build though. Look at this thing. Every little detail. All the way around. Very nice. Take that off here. These even rotate. And you got the coins sitting in there. And it's even dusty, just like in the movie. The top there is dusty. Gorgeous. All right, so we'll go into a little bit more of the details later. Let's see what else we got in here. This is the top here. Looks like this is the fake plug, and it's just a oh my gosh, it's just a strand of yarn. I would have rather it had been like an actual cord. Look at the detail on the end there, and then just plugs into the back. And then this is looks like the card holder. So this would attach to the bottom. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. And then inside the packaging here, we also have a 1/6 scale version of the card, and it says, "Your wish is granted." Double-sided. All right, that's part one. Here's the figure now. All right, look at that likeness. You definitely tell it's Tom Hanks. And appropriate for the age that he was at the time of the film, which, if I remember correctly, was mid-'80s, maybe late '80s. I don't know. Could have been even early '90s. No, probably late '80s. And then they got the match on the pattern on the shirt here that he wore. The jacket looks very nice. The materials are well chosen, crisp, not too stiff on the jeans. And I love how they crease the bottom of the jeans just perfectly. And the weathering on and the detailing on the shoes. Look at that. Even the bottom. The hands are done very nicely. There's some dexterity. Not too much detailing in the paint on them. I don't know how you feel about this, but the eyes off to the side, I don't know. I always like it when they're looking straight forward. It seems like you have more display options that way. But nice figure overall. Let's see what else we got here. Wow. Never seen so many hands come with a figure. That's a lot of hands. A lot of options there. Okay. Next layer. Let's get rid of all this. All right, here's the piano. And when he was making this figure, he did a few video updates, and the pads work independently. They light up and they make noise. We're going to get that going so I could demo it for you. It looks like you're going to need an external battery pack here. I always get nervous when I open these types of things that are small batch, because what they do for power supply is typically not ideal. It's not internal. Oh my God. Okay, so apparently none of that was secured. Yeah, so I'm going to have to reattach all that. Okay. Oops. Let's keep going here temporarily. All right, looks like we've got some pegs. And this is, I guess, to display him standing. Another card. Okay. And then I guess this is another option for standing him up. Okay, I'm going to have to figure all this out. And then you've got a remote. Looks like this is for the Zoltar machine. All right, so let me fix the piano thing and see how the power supply works and give you a good demo here. All right, so I'm back. What I figured out is, so there's two plugs in the back here. One is to charge the soundboard for this thing, and the other one has to be plugged in at all times to produce power to actually light it up and have the moving feature. I also discovered that I couldn't use a portable power pack, so this actually has to be plugged into an outlet to operate, which is kind of annoying because depending on how you have your figures displayed, if you've got a shelving unit, you're not going to necessarily have access to an outlet within the vicinity of the shelf you have this displayed on. So you'd have to make an exception and put this close to one. But once I plugged this thing in, I was shocked at how beautiful this thing came out. Look at that. So let's focus on the lighting alone without activating this thing. One comment that I would have is that this panel up here is a little too opaque. You don't see much contrast between the lettering and the red background. The lettering should actually be more yellow, so it would provide a little bit more contrast if it was color accurate.
And regardless of angle, also you get this color streak right here. Other than that, if you look closely at the words in the back and the panel in the front here, there's good contrast there. So it should have been similar to that up here, though. But the inside, beautiful. The glow inside is beautiful. Now, it comes with this remote, and that activates the moving feature and the sound. So here we go. And if I press this button, it's supposed to stop it. And I could hear it click inside, but it doesn't stop it. So what I've actually got to do is unplug it entirely and then also wait for the sound cycle to stop. There. So a little bit of a glitch there, I have to say. Now, when it comes to the piano pad, same thing. It doesn't work with a battery pack. You've actually got to plug it in. And for some reason, they put the plug on the front of the entire display. Here we go. See? So they plug it in there, and then the cord is just kind of exposed in the front. Here we go. And you've got to plug it in. All right. So as you can see, it lights up. I thought there was sound, but apparently there's no sound. And those black keys are just kind of resting in there. They're not secured in any way. Let's see, does this all light up? Yep, lights, 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 lights. Good, they all work. There was also some protective taping on the sides that I had to remove. I don't know, for $2,500 maybe they could have done that for me. But yeah, the way this thing powers is just kind of inconvenient. And once again, that exposed plug in the front there, they should have put that around the back. I don't know what they were thinking. Anyways, let's go back to concluding the review. All right, back to the review. So the figure has this stand in the back here. It's a metal bending wire type thing, and it just sits on a clear panel that secures underneath the bottom of the back area. One of the things that I watched a video by Doggie Doc Designs, and the jacket uses a memory material, which I have never seen before. This is revolutionary to me. Essentially, you can create better creasing. So, for instance, if I want to make this fly up, it's almost like the entire thing is wireframed, but micro mesh wireframed. And it runs through the entire jacket. So you can really get into the details of creating the creases on the jacket for accuracy purposes. It's amazing stuff. I mean, if Hot Toys started using this material, they'd be unstoppable. Back to this thing. Another thing I noticed, so the thing moves back and forth, about a 90-degree angle here with the wheel. That's a nice feature that they didn't need to do, but it definitely accentuates the piece. Also, it's worth pointing out that there's actual material for the clothing on the Zoltar, which I think is a nice touch as well. The cracking of the paint. So if you go back, I did a video on the one that I made. I 3D printed it, painted it by hand, and try to research as much as possible how to do that crack effect on the paint, where there's essentially a red base underneath and then crackling blue. I couldn't do it. I couldn't replicate it. So he managed somehow. Gotta hand it to him for that. But excellent detailing throughout. Just a fantastic piece. It is better than the one that I made, and I recently sold that one on eBay, anticipating that this one would come in. So otherwise, I would have done a side-by-side with mine. Now, I want to point out that I've had this figure for a while that I used with my custom Zoltar machine. This is him in his suit. It's been a while since I've seen the film, but I believe he was wearing a suit at the end when he went to go change back into a kid. I could be wrong, but I just wanted to do a side-by-side of the differences in the sculpts. And there's definitely, let's get a little closer here. There's definitely a difference here. I mean, you can tell both of them are Tom Hanks, but the nose on mine is a little bit rounder, bigger. The eyes are a little bit different color, and the hair is definitely a different color. And what I might do is I might just essentially have two big pieces. One would be the iconic scene of him on the piano, and then the other one, I'll just have him here with the machine like this. Now, if I had the child version of him, you know, with the varsity jacket and everything, that would be even better. That would just complete the whole picture. But overall, pretty good. Especially, I don't know why it's getting me, the dust resting underneath the coins there. I think that's a fantastic addition. So overall, I mean, I thought I was going to be able to give this thing a 10 out of 10. But the biggest issues, just to recap, is the plug for the piano being on the front and not the back, and the fact that you have to have this thing plugged into an actual outlet. I mean, ideally, it would have had an internal power supply. You could just charge it. But even if it's external, the fact that you can't use a power pack, in other words, have something resting behind it on the shelf that you just need to press the button and get the whole thing going, it's kind of an inconvenience. So I am going to take points off for that. Otherwise, I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9.7. This is definitely not a regrettable purchase. A few shortcomings that are easily overlooked, especially when you're just looking at it from a distance on display. Yeah, just a little details here and there. But I appreciate this, and I will not hesitate to get more stuff from Doggie Doc Designs. As a matter of fact, he's got a Keymaster figure that's currently in production, small batch, from Ghostbusters, played by Rick Moranis. Too late to get on that one if you're interested, but I will be doing a review on that when it comes in. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and see you next time.